That's Freddy Supers. And go overlay 1.
Well, yeah.
How we looking, Bob?
Oh, you look great, and I think we are ready to begin whenever Rich arrives.
Thank you, Glenda. You give my best to Jim now, won't you?
This is for you, Mr. Dobbs.
Oh, thank you. And call me Rich. Bob, nice to see you again.
It's always a pleasure, Rich.
Though, Tony. So good to see you, my friend. Are you nervous?
No, I've done my preparations.
You always do. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, folks, we are ready to begin. In 3, 2.
It's always a pleasure to talk with Amway distributors, whether we are with you in your hometown or whether you are visiting us here at Ada.
Jay will be backgrounding you on the progress at the company, and I'll be back with you shortly to tell you a little bit more about the way we see the Amway sales plan in this day and how it looks for the future.
We've always built for the future right from the beginning. But today, building and planning for the future is a gigantic and expensive job.
We know, as all of you know, that the corporate growth can only be as great as the individual growth of all of the distributors who sell Amway products.
Amway entered the decade of the 60s with its first building of 2,400 square feet. But it's entering the decade of the 70s with over 500,000 square feet built or under construction. That's 200 times as much floor space. Our eyes are always on the future. Hundreds of persons at the Amway office are at work every day on projects for next year and for the year after to ensure that we will always be ready for the dynamic growth of this great organization. That's our challenge, and yours, as we enter the decade of the 1970s together.
In 1959, Jay and Rich started Amway, and from there, it grew at a breathtaking pace. As the field of business owners grew, Jay and Rich continually reinvested in the business, increasing production, distribution channels, and research and development for an ever-expanding product line. First decade alone, the corporate offices grew from a tiny service station at the base of a floodplain to over 500,000 square feet of office, manufacturing, and warehouse space sprawling across Ada, Michigan. Jay and Rich's vision drove Amway forward. The question was, were they seeing the future or reaching beyond their grasp?
It's hard to really appreciate how bold they were, especially in those days.
You know, a lot of people see what Amway became and they assume it was always headed there, you know. It just took off, right? But the early days were anything but easy.
They could have stopped and said, okay, we made it. We're big enough. They could have said that the risk started to get too great to expand further and just focus on maintaining what they had.
They were investing everything back into the company because they believed in Amway and they believed in the ABOs, and that's where they were going to put their money. They had this confidence.
My dad could see things and sort of go, oh, I think that has a potential to many other people. He was attracted originally to the biodegradable cleaning products, which nobody sold at that time. Now it's everywhere. And that's how that all began.
They knew that they had something special, not only for themselves, but for many other people as well. There's a story that a business owner told. It was early on in Amway, but we're growing by leaps and bounds at this point. It was often that Dan Rich would bring out top distributors to have meetings and tour the manufacturing facility as well as the warehouses. And there was a group of maybe half a dozen distributors that were touring the warehouse with him. And this distributor is looking at the long rows and rows and asked Dad, what if in 30 years, people have machines to do all the cleaning and people don't need these products anymore? My dad didn't miss a beat. He simply turned to resume his tour and he actually replied, then we'll sell those machines. I think that kind of says everything. Dan Rich were like that. They knew that it would keep growing, and they had confidence.
The early days of the Amway business, certainly it starts in the U.S. It's Amway, American Way, it's all these sorts of things. And then, you know, we live in Michigan, and so there's a lot of people who are, you know, connected in Canada. And I said, well, maybe we should bring the business to Canada.
So that's what led us to expand to other countries as well. But China was always sort of this dream, this possibility.
At the time, the potential was enormous. 1 billion people just beginning to open to the West. Most companies thought it was too risky. This was the 1980s and 90s. Amway had already expanded into Canada, Australia, and the UK, all important markets. But China? That was a whole different ballgame.
I think they saw a similar hunger, a similar hustle in the people of China. So China was beginning to open up to the West, and increasingly, everyday Chinese citizens were looking for and wanting a way to make something for themselves. But they needed an opportunity. So we made the leap. It wasn't long before that, before we had offices and warehouses and thousands of Chinese Amway business owners.
It was uncharted territory, culturally and politically. The leap into China showed just how bold and future-minded they were.
We did very well. Actually, in the very first year, we already do $100 million in sales. This was a market that, you know, people are looking for opportunities. They love quality products. We entered, you know, big time. But then our method of marketing, direct selling, is very new to China.
Things were growing even better than we had hoped until we got the call. Direct selling was banned in China.
Everything shut down. The manufacturing halted, product just sitting there.
Everything froze overnight. Conveyor belts silent. Thousands of workers in limbo. It was devastating.
All those businesses, all those families.
China was an extremely ambitious expansion. You know, especially at the time, we invested so much in the market. From a China standpoint, very much confusion. They'd never seen a business like ours, a business that has many, many people selling products in all parts of their country. And that was, I think that made them a little bit nervous.
So that direct selling ban came down in 1998 in April. I remember the day very clearly. So Rich was in the meeting, and he listened to the situation, and you know what he said? Very, very clear, short, simple message. His first line is, Eva, we must persist. What I learned from Rich is don't make things complicated. So we went back to the government and said, we're willing to change our mode of operation. And so at the end, we were able to relaunch and do business again. This time we just opened shops.
It was a real challenging time. But we did persist. We didn't give up. We found a solution.
He believed the future was still there, and he wanted to push forward.
But at our 5-year anniversary, Rich traveled to the market, and I happened to be with him. And we were at the manufacturing site.
And Gan pointed out, Gan is the head of manufacturing for us, and he pointed out to Rich, oh, that's the site that belonged to Kellogg's. Instantly, Rich gave the response, oh, that site will belong to us very soon.
We all said, well, Rich, we're just kind of getting through the direct selling ban. We're operational again, and things are going pretty good. And he goes, no, you better buy that land right now, because this business is going to be huge here in China. And sure enough, we did buy the land, and we needed that to support the tremendous growth.
Somehow, Rich reads into the future with so much confidence. I simply don't know how he knew, but he knew.
They had something about them that could see beyond the current challenges and believe that there was a better future there.
They were never satisfied with maintaining. They were always looking forward and always pushing us to do better, be better, look for the next best thing.
They kept doing the same thing. See an opportunity, chase it down with all your effort. run into a problem, find a solution.
They were truly trying to do something very unique and very excellent, and we have seen spread. It was like this seed that Amway was, and now it's just blossomed. It almost brings a tear to my eye, and I go, yeah, that was my dad.
Rich is a very visionary person, and he has the big picture in his mind all the time.
His nature was ideas, it was innovation, it was forward movement, it was opportunity and possibility and encouragement.
My dad was an incredibly disciplined and hardworking person.
He tended to not be frustrated in terms of the past because he was always looking forward.
Even when they were older and they were not even, quote unquote, a vote on the board any longer, they were the ones who were still pushing us to make strong, visionary, forward-looking decisions. They never gave up. They never stopped thinking forward.
Looking back, I think they have gone through, roadblocks over the years, and nothing is easy. But they keep on fighting. They keep on with this winning spirit, and keep on pushing forward.
For me, actually, the lesson of my dad and Jay is that vision isn't just seeing the future. It's having the courage to step into it. They showed us that curiosity and boldness, when anchored in values, can carry you through uncertainty.
That was that vision that they had. That was something that they've modeled for us, and that's something that we all have tried to do in our own lives.
If you want to honor their legacy, that's what you carry forward.
There will always be challenge, there will always be adversities, there will always be obstacles. But what I learned from Jay and Rich is, if your goalpost is clear enough, you simply have to overcome and not give up. That's the kind of determination that is necessary for anybody to be successful, to live life to its fullest.
You keep looking ahead, you keep asking what's possible, and you never be afraid to build the future.